Hi, everyone. Welcome back to No Borders English Studio. I'm Tara, and today we're talking about something that affects millions of people around the world: introversion. And if you're learning English as an introvert, this episode is especially for you. We're going to explore ideas from Susan Cain's famous TED Talk, The Power of Introverts. And along the way, we'll learn some advanced English vocabulary and expressions she uses in her talk. We'll also talk about something really important: how introverted English learners can practice speaking comfortably, confidently, and naturally without feeling pressured to become the loudest person in the room. And today we're also adding a listening comprehension challenge. So here's your quiz question for this episode. According to Susan Cain, what is the name of the cultural idea that celebrates outgoing, highly social personalities? What is the name of the cultural idea that celebrates outgoing, highly social personalities? Listen carefully because we'll come back to answer later in the episode. So, whether you're an introvert yourself or just curious about personality and communication, grab a cup of coffee or a cup of tea, relax, and let's get into it. Susan Cain begins her talk by explaining that our society often celebrates extroversion. She says we live in what she calls an extrovert ideal. That phrase is really important. An ideal is something society sees as the perfect example of how people should be. So when she says extrovert ideal, she means that many cultures reward people who are outgoing, talkative, energetic, charismatic, and socially confident. Charismatic is a fantastic vocabulary word. A charismatic person has a strong, attractive personality that naturally draws people in. And honestly, many English learners feel this pressure too. People often think, if I want to speak English well, I need to be super social. I need to speak constantly. I need to be fearless. But that's not true. Some of the best communicators in the world are quiet, reflective, and thoughtful people. Susan Cain says that introverts often prefer less stimulating environments. That's another excellent phrase: stimulating environment. A stimulating environment is a place with lots of activity, noise, interaction, or excitement. For extroverts, that can feel energizing. For introverts, it can sometimes feel overwhelming or mentally draining. Mentally draining means something requires so much energy and concentration that it leaves you exhausted afterward. And this matters for language learning because many students think they're bad at speaking when actually they're just overwhelmed. There's a difference. An introverted learner may need more preparation time, smaller conversations, quieter environments, or deeper one on one discussions. And that is completely valid. One really interesting part of Susan's TED Talk is when she talks about how modern society gradually shifted away from valuing character and started valuing personality instead. This is such a fascinating idea. She explains that many years ago, people admired qualities like integrity, discipline, humility, and good morals. But over time, society became more focused on being impressive, persuasive, entertaining, and socially magnetic. Socially magnetic is a great expression. If someone is socially magnetic, people naturally feel attracted to their energy and presence. Susan Cain even jokes about how classrooms and workplaces are often designed for extroverts. We do group work. We have open offices. There's constant collaboration. And honestly, a lot of introverts listening are probably nodding their heads at that part because it's so true. Some people genuinely do their best thinking quietly and independently, and there's nothing wrong with that. She also shares a story about being sent to summer camp as a child with a suitcase full of books. I love that image because it's both funny and it's relatable. Instead of wanting loud social activities all day long, she was excited to spend time reading. And that story really captures something important. Introverts are not necessarily antisocial, they simply recharge differently. Recharge is another useful expression. It means to recover your energy after feeling tired or emotionally depleted. Extroverts often recharge by being around people. Introverts often recharge through solitude, calm environments, or quiet hobbies. One thing I really love about Susan Cain's talk is that she challenges the idea that quiet people are somehow less capable. She talks about how many important thinkers, writers, scientists, and leaders were introverts. She reminds us that creativity and deep thinking often happen in solitude. Solitude is a beautiful advanced vocabulary word. It means being alone in a peaceful and intentional way. Not loneliness and not isolation. It's solitude. And for language learners, solitude can actually become a superpower. Why? Because introverted learners are often excellent observers. They notice pronunciation, they notice patterns, they listen carefully, they think deeply before speaking. Those are amazing language learning skills. Cain also says something powerful. There's zero correlation between being the best talker and having the best ideas. That line is worth repeating. I really like this line. There's zero correlation between being the best talker and having the best ideas. Just because someone speaks loudly or confidently does not automatically mean their ideas are better. And honestly, this is something many English learners need to hear. Sometimes students stay silent because they're translating in their heads or organizing their thoughts or trying to choose the right words. That doesn't mean they're unintelligent. It means they're processing language carefully, and careful thinking is valuable. Processing in this context means mentally organizing and understanding information. Now, before we continue, let's go back to today's listening comprehension question. What did Susan Cain call the cultural idea that celebrates outgoing and highly social personalities? The answer is the extrovert ideal. This is the concept that many cultures reward people who are extroverts. If you remembered that, amazing job. Well done. And if not, don't worry. Listening comprehension improves with repetition and exposure. That's why podcasts like this are so helpful for English learners. Now, Let's talk about the challenge many introverted English learners face. Because, yes, speaking practice is necessary. You cannot become fluent only by studying grammar or memorizing vocabulary. At some point, you need real communication. But the good news is, speaking practice does not have to feel aggressive, embarrassing, or overwhelming. So, here are a few gentle strategies that work especially well for introverts. First, start with low pressure speaking. Instead of jumping into big group conversations, try voice notes to a close friend or family member, private tutoring, just you and your teacher. Language exchange apps are helpful, shadowing exercises, or even recording yourself speaking alone. Shadowing is when you listen to a native speaker and repeat what they say almost immediately, copying their rhythm, pronunciation, and their intonation. Recording yourself is incredibly powerful. You can pause, restart, think slowly, experiment with vocabulary, and over time, your confidence grows naturally. Second, prepare topics in advance. Introverts often speak more comfortably when they've had time to organize their thoughts. So, before a conversation, maybe prepare 5 useful expressions, or 3 opinions, or 1 personal story. This reduces anxiety dramatically. Third, focus on meaningful conversations instead of constant conversations. Many introverts dislike small talk, but enjoy deeper discussions. And honestly, that can lead to richer English practice too. Instead of forcing yourself to speak with everyone, focus on quality interactions. One thoughtful 20-minute conversation can teach you more than 2 hours of random chatting. And finally, remember that fluency does not have one personality type. You do not need to become extroverted to become fluent. You simply need consistent, comfortable communication. That's the goal. Before we finish today's episode, let's quickly revisit some of the vocabulary and expressions we explored. Extrovert Ideal, the cultural belief that outgoing personalities are the most desirable. Charismatic, naturally attractive and engaging personalities. Stimulating environment, a place full of activity and interaction. Mentally draining, something that exhausts your energy and focus. Socially magnetic, naturally drawing people toward you. Recharge, to recover your energy. Solitude, peaceful time spent alone. Processing information, mentally organizing and understanding ideas. Shadowing, repeating a native speaker to improve pronunciation and fluency. Try using 1 or 2 of these expressions in the comments below to practice your English actively. So, today we explored Susan Cain's ideas about introversion. We learned some advanced English vocabulary and expressions from her TED Talk. And we talked about how introverted English learners can practice speaking in a way that feels natural and sustainable. If you enjoyed this episode, I highly recommend watching Susan Cain's full TED Talk. I'll leave the link in the description below. And if you'd like to read the full transcript from today's episode, you can also find that on my Substack page. That link will be in the description too. And now I'd love to hear from you. Are you more introverted or extroverted when speaking English? And which vocabulary word or expression from today's episode was your favorite? Leave a comment below. And if this episode helped you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with a friend who might enjoy it too. Thanks so much for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode of No Borders English Studio.